Screenless. Emily Dolan Davies, aka Emily Drums.
Yay!
Touring and remote recording drummer. Welcome to Creative Cuppa.
Thank you so much for having me.
I noticed you have a cuppa.
I do. I'm on brand.
What are you drinking today?
It's black coffee in my my neighbor Totoro mug, which is my favourite mug ever. It's a Japanese animated film by a guy called Miyazaki, who is my favourite animator director in the world.
Wow, okay. That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I've heard from other interviews that you've done that you started drumming around the age of 11.
That's correct.
Around that, and by 14 you were just on a mission to get going. At what point did you think drumming as a career would be possible?
Well, I think, so from picking up the sticks, I fell completely in love. And I think it just gradually came about because I grew up in quite a creative family, and my dad has always been in like the TV world, TV and film world, mainly animation and all of that. So I was very much brought up with this thing of both of my parents saying to both me and my sister, if you can find something that you love doing and find a way to make a living, then that's it. You've won at life. So I'd already fallen in love with drumming at age 11. And by 14, it was just this realization of like, I found this thing. And now I think it took me basically 3 years to pluck up the courage to go, okay, I'm going to commit to doing this. I want to do this for my career. Because obviously it's quite a jump to go from, I really enjoy doing this thing, to no, this is going to be my life. So I think 14, and I think a lot of people at 14, 15, around that age, it's an awkward time. It's horrible, hormones and school and friends. And, I discovered boys at that time, and it was all just a bit of a mess. But I knew that if I could concentrate on this one thing, whenever I did, everything made sense and everything was fine. And I just thought, well, that kind of makes sense. And I just made the decision at 14. I remember it. I was walking home from school. I must have had an awful day. And I was just like, I'm doing this. That's it. I'm done.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing, though, as a 14-year-old. I mean, hundreds of years ago when I was 14, it was, the difference between saying, yes, I'm going to do it, and actually realising what's involved. And as you get older as well and mature and still having that same dream, that's quite something.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you say that, because it was that decision of right, I'm going to do it. But then it was like, I don't actually know how, but I'm going to find a way. And I mean, at the time I was going to a lot of drum clinics and drum shows and things like that. But at that point, I just upped my game. It was like going to as many different shows that I could, gigs, and, just meeting people, asking other musicians, I would get in touch with them, like I would email them and ask for their advice. And it just became, I mean, drums was already the obsession, but the career became the new obsession. And it just wasn't an option. It wasn't like, can I do this? It was like, no, I just need to find a way how, because I'm seeing other people doing it, so why can't I?
Quite. Yeah. And it seems to be a common theme, doesn't it, amongst creative people? Say yes first, figure out how to do it afterwards.
That's basically what my career has been based on, and it's terrifying most of the time.
But as creative people, we're well equipped to do that.
Absolutely.
I think.
I completely agree.
Yeah. So you've worked with artists like Brian Ferry, The Darkness, Kim Wilde, Howard Jones. Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite style to play, or do you prefer the variety?
I've always thrived on variety. I don't know what it is. The only thing that definitely, the only theme that runs throughout all of the artists that I work with, and whether that's touring or recording, whether they're sort of like really well-known artists like Brian or The Darkness, or whether they're sort of like independent artists or new artists, the thing that always drives me and the thing that I always focus on is a good song. Like, that is the crux of why I play the drums. I have loved songs since before I picked up the sticks, and it's funny how that same thing has just carried me throughout my career and will continue to, because you cannot beat a good song.
Yeah. Very much so, very much so. And I suppose it's the same with film and animation and all those things with story.
Exactly.
If it's not a good story, you can have the best made programme in the world, can't you? But it's still not going to
Yeah.
very good.
I think that's what frustrates me with a lot of modern film. It's more about the CGI, it's about the visuals, which are spectacular, but the story lets it down. And to me, that is the foundation. You need to tell a good story, and it's the same in music.
I saw some photos of you touring with Kim Wilde. What was that like? Must have been amazing.
It is amazing. It's so good. So I started working with her in 2018, and we were meant to be on tour right now, actually. But obviously, current circumstances, we were meant to have a whole year's worth of touring. This year was going to be very busy with Kim, and obviously it all changed around January sort of time. But that's all been shifted to next year. So fingers crossed that'll still be happening.
Still got it to look forward to.
Yeah, exactly. But honestly, it's just such a laugh on stage and off stage, to be honest. I mean, I know that she's technically a pop artist, but the show is a full-on rock show. I mean, it is people running around on stage and just high energy and performance, and then you've got the great songs to go with it. And
well, I was going to say that what you're saying about the great songs, she's just got tons of them.
I mean, it's literally a whole 2-hour set of hits, and you're just like, this is unreal. And her audiences are amazing. Her fans are so diehard and just know the lyrics to all of them, even if they're obscure B-sides. They're there singing every word, and it's so much fun. I just can't express.
But do you get to the end of a tour and think you're just finished?
Oh yeah,
you have to go to bed for a week or something.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's literally you give everything, and it's a weird thing being on tour because it's you get into this routine and you just get on with it, and you don't realise how tired you are, and the sort of adrenaline rushes, and then you're knackered the next day, and then you get through the next show with another adrenaline rush, and you're eating weird, and it's just all these factors, and then you finally get home, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely exhausted.
Running on adrenaline.
Yeah, basically.
So for anyone who's seen your education YouTube and podcast series, A Drummer's Guide to, you seem to be really keen to provide information and lessons from your experiences to people starting in the industry, all with bucket loads of enthusiasm, which is great.
Thank you.
Can you tell me a bit more about that? What inspired you to do that?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah, so basically going back to when I was 14, I guess, it sort of spawned from that moment of going, okay, I want to do this thing, but I don't know anyone to ask how to do it. And I distinctly remember going to this drum clinic for this drummer called Mark Mondesir, and I was so terrified of asking him any questions because I was so shy and painfully shy, which is probably quite hard to believe now. And I just thought, you know what, I want to do something for the 14-year-old me and any other 14, 15, even, 20, 30, whatever year olds.
Yeah. You're getting into the industry, I suppose, isn't
exactly,
it?
Just to lift up that veil a little bit and go, okay, this is actually what it's like. Okay, this is what you actually need to know. This is how I've done it, and maybe you could do it too. It's never going, you should do this. It's just this is how I did it and it worked. So if it works for you, then that's brilliant. And the more that I did it, the more I realised how little things were being talked about when it came away from the playing, because the reality is when you're a session musician, especially if you're a touring session musician, the playing is actually only about 10% of the job. The 90% of the job is sort of the hanging out. It's the sort of it's all the personal side of stuff, the personable side of stuff, and just surviving, and surviving things like exhaustion on the road and making that work for you, and making sure you have contingency time after tours to make sure you do recover. And there's all these things, these elements that go into it that people just don't talk about. And especially in this sort of Instagram culture where all you really see are these amazing pictures and amazing videos and look how great my life is, which is wonderful, and I'm not knocking it at all, but I think there needs to be that balance of that is amazing, okay, but let's talk about the things that aren't that amazing, that do just come as part of the job, and this is how I choose to deal with them. And even if it's just as simple as letting someone know that they're not alone in feeling the way that they're feeling, if they're feeling bad about something and they're like, I shouldn't be feeling like this, and it's like, no, do you know what, it's completely natural. I felt like that, I went through this, I failed at that, but look, I'm here and I'm doing it, so if I can do it, you can do it. So that's kind of the ethos of the whole of the A Drummer's Guide to series. series, as it were. And it's an ongoing thing.
That's fantastic.
Thank
You're also launching something new.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I'm so excited. So
You do look really excited.
Oh, I can't even. So at the beginning of this year, obviously, it was awful. This whole COVID thing came about and had a lot of work cancelled, as did all of my musician friends, obviously. And a lot of people have been turning to either offering online lessons or online remote recording. Now, I've been doing remote recording for the last 5 years. I think it's one of the most phenomenal spaces to be in for many reasons. And I just want more people to be in it. And in my head about a year ago, I was like, I would love to put together a course that could teach kind of the business side of running a remote recording studio, because as musicians, we're great at being creative, but when it comes to, at least for me, I know for me, when it comes to like logical systems and things like that, and knowing how to get clients and, you know, all that sort of stuff, it freaked me out. When I started EmilyDrums.com, I literally didn't know anything. I was like, okay, I'll work it out. And I sort of did loads of stuff wrong and it took ages and, you know, all this sort of stuff. And I just thought, well, let me just put together something that makes it easier. It's kind of a step-by-step guide, if you like, in how to run the business side and the systems that you need in place, so that all you've got to concentrate on is actually making music, since that's what we love to do anyway.
That's what you get into it for.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and then obviously all this COVID stuff happened, and I was, the way that I put it, I was gifted a lot of free time. So I was like, well, maybe this is the time to do it. And, you know, a lot of people are turning to remote recording, and I'd hate the idea of someone saying, right, I'm going to go do this thing. But then because all this, there's such a lack of information about the other side of recording, not just the setting up, you know, all your preamps and all of, you know, your interface and all that sort of stuff, all the other stuff, because there's such a lack of knowledge, I would hate people to then be put off or to not feel they can do it or feel like they've failed and just give up. And I'd like to be the person that gives that information. So anyway, I created this course and it's called the Remote Recording Business course, and it's out on the 4th of June. I don't know when this is going to actually go out.
Yeah,
so
point.
it might be out already, who knows. But if you go to remoterecordingbusiness.com, then all the information will be there. There's like a free workshop that I do, which is the first 3 steps to take to when you first start doing remote recording, like how to get your first clients, what you should be charging people, and just the simplest way to get the most impact straight away, basically. So yeah, I'm so excited. I cannot tell you about this cover. Oh, it's just, oh, I love it. And it's really selfish. I'm really proud of myself because it was a massive undertaking.
Oh, you should be.
Yeah, I'm just, it, like I say, I'm a week away and I'm like, I just wanted to be out.
It will be after June the 4th.
Oh, great.
So feel free to share links and things like that.
Cool.
Speaking of which, where can people find you online?
Everywhere online. So
it's free marketing, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. So I'm on all the usual social medias. If you just look up anything, so Twitter, Facebook, Instagram / Emily Drums, you'll find me, basically.
Which I thought was your surname, actually. But
did you?
No, I'm joking.
Well, you say that. There are some people that do have surnames like that. We work with a tech called Lloyd Starr, and he's an actually Starr. That's actually his name. It's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Maybe I should change my name legally.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Stage name.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to say than say than Dolan Davies. And then you get into the Davies,
yes. Is
Davis.
It drums or drooms?
Like, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You feel my pain.
Fabulous. Well, I will put all those links in the show notes for you. But for now,
Wonderful.
Emily Dolan Davies, thank you so much for joining me for a cuppa.
Thank you so much, Gareth. It's been so much fun.